There comes a moment in every life when we look around and wonder why certain patterns keep repeating, why the same difficulties return again and again, why prosperity seems to slip through our fingers just when we think we have grasped it, why relationships crumble in familiar ways, why health challenges persist despite our best efforts. Perhaps you have experienced this yourself. You work hard, you try to do right, yet somehow luck seems to be against you. One disappointment follows another. One setback leads to the next. And you begin to wonder if you are cursed, if fate has marked you for struggle. But I tell you today that there is no such thing as bad luck. What appears to be misfortune is simply the working out of spiritual law. And once you understand this law, you hold in your hands the power to break any cycle of difficulty and step into the flow of abundant good that is your divine birthright. The law I speak of is the law of cause and effect, what the ancient texts call karma. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every feeling you harbor goes forth and must return to you multiplied. This is not punishment. This is simply how the universe operates. It is as exact as mathematics, as reliable as the rising sun. Now, most people understand this law only in part. They know that if they steal, they may be caught and punished. If they are kind, kindness may come back to them. But they miss the deeper truth. The most powerful seeds we sow are not our outward actions, but our inner attitudes, our resentments, our unforgiveness, our secret harboring of hurt and anger. These invisible seeds create the most persistent cycles of difficulty. And this is why so many good people who would never deliberately harm another, find themselves trapped in patterns of lack, illness, and disappointment. They are reaping what they have unconsciously sown in the hidden garden of the heart. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this truth. I once knew a woman who came to me in great distress. She had been married 3 times, and each marriage had ended in betrayal and financial loss. She was convinced that men could not be trusted, that she was destined to be deceived and abandoned. As we talked, the deeper pattern emerged. 20 years earlier, she had been engaged to a young man who broke their engagement to marry another. The wound went deep. She never forgot the humiliation, the pain, the sense of betrayal. She carried it with her like a hidden poison, and though she remarried, she never truly forgave that first young man. Her unforgiveness became a magnet. It drew to her, again and again, the very experience she most feared. Each betrayal confirmed her belief that men were untrustworthy. Each disappointment added another layer to her resentment. She was trapped in a cycle of her own making, though she could not see it. When I explained this to her, she protested. She had done nothing wrong. She was the victim, not the perpetrator. How could her thoughts about something that happened decades ago be affecting her life today? This is where we must understand the deeper workings of spiritual law. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between past and present. When you hold resentment, you are not simply remembering an old hurt. You are actively recreating it in consciousness every day. You are sending out the vibration of betrayal, injustice, and mistrust. And the law of attraction must bring you experiences that match that vibration. Moreover, unforgiveness creates what I call a spiritual block. It is like a dam in the river of good. All the prosperity, love, health, and happiness that would naturally flow to you becomes backed up behind this obstruction. The harder you work to improve your circumstances through outer means, the more frustrated you become, because the real problem lies within. But here is the beautiful truth that can transform your life in an instant. Forgiveness is not just a nice thing to do. It is not merely about being spiritual or good. Forgiveness is the most practical tool you possess for changing your circumstances. It is the key that unlocks every door, the eraser that wipes the slate clean, the reset button that allows you to start fresh with the law of cause and effect. When you truly forgive, you break the magnetic connection to past hurts. You stop broadcasting the signal that attracts similar experiences. You dissolve the spiritual block that has been damming up your good. and immediately, the universe begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Let me be clear about what true forgiveness means. It does not mean pretending that wrong was not done. It does not mean becoming a doormat or allowing yourself to be mistreated. It does not mean trusting those who have proven untrustworthy or excusing behavior that was genuinely harmful. True forgiveness is a spiritual act of releasing. It is saying to the universe, I no longer choose to carry this burden. I no longer choose to let this past experience determine my future. I release this person, this situation, this hurt to the care of infinite justice. I reclaim my power to create anew. Sometimes people resist forgiveness because they fear it lets the other person off the hook. But you must understand this. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about you. When you forgive, you are not excusing their behavior or agreeing that what they did was right. You are simply refusing to let their actions continue to poison your life. The person who wronged you will face their own harvest from what they have sown. That is between them and the universe. Your concern is with your own spiritual freedom, your own ability to move forward and attract the good that belongs to you. Now, let me give you practical steps for breaking the cycle through forgiveness. First, you must identify what needs to be forgiven. Often, the obvious hurts are not the deepest ones. Look for patterns in your life. Where do you see repetition? What types of difficulties keep appearing? These cycles will guide you to the core resentments that need to be released. Second, you must be willing to see your own part in perpetuating the cycle. This is not about blame or shame. It is about recognizing your power. As long as you see yourself only as a victim, you remain powerless. When you recognize that your own thoughts and attitudes have played a role in creating your experiences, you reclaim the power to change them. Third, you must actively release the resentment. This is not a mental exercise alone. You must speak the word of forgiveness aloud. Say the name of the person who hurt you and declare, I forgive you completely and release you to your good. I reclaim my power to create a new experience. What is done, and I am now free to move forward. If the hurt is very deep, you may need to repeat this process daily for a time. Do not be discouraged if forgiveness does not come instantly. Like all spiritual work, it may require patience and persistence. But every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you are weakening the old pattern and strengthening the new. Fourth, you must replace the old story with a new one. Instead of rehearsing past hurts, begin to affirm your new reality. If you have been betrayed in love, affirm, I now attract loving, faithful relationships. My heart is healed, and I am open to receive the love that belongs to me. If you have experienced financial loss, declare, I now attract honest, prosperous relationships. My finances are blessed and protected. The woman I mentioned earlier followed these steps faithfully. It was not easy at first. She had nursed her resentment for so long that it felt like an old friend. But gradually, as she practiced forgiveness, the pattern began to shift. The bitter lines around her mouth softened. Her whole countenance changed. And within a year, she met a man of genuine character who treated her with the respect and love she had always deserved. This brings me to another crucial point. Forgiveness is not just about forgiving others. Often, the person we most need to forgive is ourselves. How many of us carry guilt, shame, and self-condemnation that blocks our good more effectively than any external obstacle? How many of us punish ourselves for past mistakes, denying ourselves the very happiness and success we claim to desire? If you have made mistakes, if you have hurt others, if you have failed to live up to your own standards, the prescription is the same. You must forgive yourself completely. You must release the burden of past failures and reclaim your right to a fresh start. The universe does not hold grudges. Only we do that to ourselves. Here is a powerful affirmation for self-forgiveness. I forgive myself for all past mistakes. I release all guilt, shame, and self-condemnation. I am a beloved child of the universe, worthy of all good things. My past does not determine my future. I now step into the full expression of my divine potential. Remember, forgiveness is not a one-time event. but a way of life. Make it your practice to release resentments quickly, before they can take root and create new patterns of difficulty. When someone disappoints you, hurts you, or treats you unfairly, do not allow the poison of unforgiveness to begin its destructive work. Instead, immediately speak the word of release and turn your attention to the good you wish to create. Some may ask, but what about justice? If I forgive, will wrongdoers escape the consequences of their actions? This question reveals a misunderstanding of how spiritual law works. Justice is not dependent on your unforgiveness. The law of cause and effect operates perfectly whether you hold grudges or not. Those who sow harm will reap harm, not because you punish them with your resentment, but because that is how the universe maintains its perfect balance. Your job is not to be the enforcer of cosmic justice. Your job is to keep your own heart clear, your own vibration high, your own channel open to receive the blessings that are seeking to reach you. When you forgive, you do not prevent justice from operating. You simply remove yourself from the negative side of the equation and position yourself to receive the positive. As you practice forgiveness, you will begin to notice miraculous changes in your life. Old patterns will dissolve. New opportunities will appear. Relationships will heal or transform. Resources will flow more freely. Health may improve as the stress of resentment leaves your body. You will feel lighter, freer, more optimistic about the future. This is not magic, though it may seem magical. This is simply the natural result of aligning yourself with spiritual law. When you remove the blocks to your good, good naturally flows. When you stop sending out negative vibrations, you stop attracting negative experiences. When you clear the channel, the river of abundance can reach you once again. I invite you to begin this practice today. Think of someone who has hurt you, someone toward whom you still feel resentment or anger. It may be a parent who disappointed you, a former partner who betrayed your trust, a business associate who cheated you, or perhaps yourself for choices you regret. Speak their name or your own name aloud and declare, I forgive you completely. I release this hurt and reclaim my power. I now attract only experiences that serve my highest good. What is past, and I am now free to create anew. Feel the release as you speak these words. Notice how your body relaxes, how your breathing deepens, how a sense of peace begins to replace the old tension. This is forgiveness at work, dissolving the blocks and opening the way for your good to reach you. The cycle of bad luck ends when you decide it ends. The power is in your hands. Through forgiveness, you can break free from any pattern of difficulty and step into the unlimited possibilities that await you. Your future is not determined by your past unless you allow it to be. Today, right now, you can choose to forgive, to release, and to begin again. The universe is waiting to shower you with blessings. All that has been blocked can now flow freely. All that has been delayed can now arrive. All that has seemed impossible can now become your reality. This is the gift of forgiveness. This is the key to breaking every cycle and claiming the abundant life that is your divine inheritance.